rivers running in the land of Fae. Send me kisses on the wind until my dying day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Synthwave Hangout. My name is Dave, also known as Memory Design.
And I am Warren. And my name is Dominic.
Yeah,
you like that little pause?
It is funny because, and many people in the chat know this, but the two names are. You could just introduce yourself as Warren, like it could be on your driver's license, and I'd just be like, "Oh, okay, right. Whatever." Oh, okay. It is synonymous with your name now. Yeah. Apparently, learning to speak is also something I should do. But
right, I've actually come to answer by the name. Like people are like, "Hey, Warren." I'm like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" I don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah, if somebody drove by in a car and just yelled Warren out, you'd probably turn your head and look, right?
I'd throw up the horns, man. I'd be like, "Oh yeah,"
you throw up the horns. Hell yeah. Well, today
bring out the air horns that I normally carry all around.
Right. Well, standard in each pocket, so you can just press down. You don't even have to pull them out, right? You just push on each side.
Damn right.
Man, the chat is blowing up already today. We should shout some folks out here. Gonna go top. We got Miami Dan, of course. Somebody named DRUMxWAVE. I'll have to look who that guy is. Look up who that person is. Pashang, 13 Nights is here. Light Source, of course. Who else? Brandon McCool. I saw Nick Rickson just recently. I'm always so bad at this. Temporal Waves.
Yep.
Dream Pockets here. I missed him. I missed when I was watching for Sam to come in. I totally missed him. Craig Packman. Heartbeat Hero. Prophylaxis.
Yeah, if you say temporal waves 3 times fast, he appears.
Yeah, he appears. He appears right behind you, and to give you advice, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, am I missing anybody? Are you looking through this chat with me, or are you just leaving me hanging here, just dangling?
Just dangling.
You're just dangling.
No, I don't. I think you got it.
The game night. The game night's here as well. I'm going down through the whole thing, and I've just now remembered you can just click participants. So, all right, off to a perfect start. But
perfect.
We have an amazing, very interesting guest that I've been looking forward to since the second he agreed to do this. And we could introduce him, but why don't you introduce yourself, special guest, who nobody knows, obviously, by not looking at the title or anything on the screen?
Agree.
What's up, guys? How's everyone doing out there today? My name is Juan Calixto, also known as J. Cali Drums, or for today's purposes, DRUMxWAVE, which is my new project name that I'm starting and debuting this Friday.
Welcome, Jay.
Sweet.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Yeah, no problem. I love the nickname of J. Cali, by the way. That just rolls off the tongue so easily.
Yeah, it's been around since I was probably like 13. So I just stuck with it, and yeah, here we are all these years later.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. So there's so much to get into that we can talk about. I'm sure there's more to talk about than we'll get to. As far as, I don't want to make this too interviewee or not, but you have such a fascinating kind of background with the different bands and different things that you've been in and things you've done. Sure. Is there a way you could give like kind of a quick highlight reel, I guess, to introduce yourself to people that maybe don't or aren't too familiar with you just from the DRUMxWAVE name?
Sure. Well, I got started playing drums fairly early age. By the time I was 14, I was starting my first band called 1,000 Shades of Cold. We were like a hard rock slash almost metal type of band. That was my band I was in for like over a decade. So I got my start doing that. Then when we kind of stopped doing that, I did the LA thing and played with some more rock bands. And I kind of got into the indie pop stuff, playing with a band called Paper Chains. And then another friend from my hometown moved out to LA. Some of you guys might know him as the Bad Dreamers.
Hell yeah.
He was starting that up and needed a drummer, so that kind of opened my world up into the synthwave realm, if you will. And from there, it was just like love at first sight. And, fast forward some time later, I started playing with another artist that you might be familiar with called Time Cop 1983. I've been part of his touring live band since 2023. So yeah, I'm very excited to have all of those things under my belt and continue to move forward in the synthwave and electronic music world. I'm very, very excited about it. And now DRUMxWAVE, it's kind of like a passion project for me, a chance for me to spread my wings and kind of tell stories through my own lens and just, kind of put the music out that I want to put out and yeah, just have fun while I'm doing it,
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
it's so cool that it is like the past I wish I had led. You know what I'm saying? You like move out to LA and then you fall into all these awesome opportunities. That's very cool. It's exciting.
And it's like you got like quite a resume out of it too, so it's pretty sweet.
Absolutely. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's been a long journey, that's for sure.
even like Bad Dreamers alone would be, an exceptional resume. So it's pretty awesome. And it's funny too, as a drummer, as some people know, also, if you are just remain a drummer, I know some people do, but it always seems like we'll kind of start writing our own music too. Like for me back when it was learning how to play guitar and then kind of making my own kind of solo stuff and then moving on to learning other instruments, and you kind of just always want to expand a little bit, or at least that's what it was like for me.
Yeah, no, totally, dude, for sure.
Yeah, so I've heard some of this DRUMxWAVE stuff, and it's one of these projects that like I'm excited for other people to hear. Like other people to experience what I've heard. So you've got.
Well, I mean, I was going to say the interesting thing about that is that to me it's always interesting where somebody is most strong. For you it's drums, but you've also do the music as well. So as you go on and listening to other people, depending on what instrument they're strongest with or whatever they're whether it's samples or whatever, it always takes on like a very unique type of thing. And with drummers, I always found in particular is the rhythm sections are always very interesting when drummers are the one that writes them because it's like second nature for you guys.
Yeah, and that's it's funny too, like with DRUMxWAVE, because like I mean obviously I'm progressing as I go. I'm getting better, well, in my opinion, at writing music. I'm getting more comfortable with the process of writing music for myself, I should say. And the funny part to me is that I don't feel like my drums are really that intricate. Like they're pretty straightforward, man. They're almost like loopish. You know what I mean? Like I just looped them on an old school like MPC or something, and I'm just running with it and kind of letting the vocals take the lead. But there's some stuff I'm playing with that I'm trying to get creative with blending loops with like stuff I'm programming,
right?
Because that's another thing. I don't do any live tracking drums for DRUMxWAVE, at least not in its current state. So that's another interesting
yeah, I don't either.
Effect.
I don't either. I have some fantasy one day of getting, like a Roland V drum kit or something, right? And then I'm like, I'm going to play all these myself. And in many ways it would be a lot easier because I'm trying to I'm like, oh man, I'd love to have kind of a little, ghost note, bass drum hit here, a little, rat-a-tat on the hi-hat, before, in between, just kind of how you would naturally do it if you were playing live. And then I'll try to program it in. I'll be like, wow, that is awful. That sounds like a robot is programming another robot to program a drum machine from the 80s. The squarest thing.
My hands, like I can, I can do the pad drums. Like I'm decent at that. Excuse me, sorry. But if you put me actually on a drum set, it's a mess. I cannot.
You have the opposite problem.
I cannot differentiate my right hand from the like 'cause I'm doing the hi-hat or the cymbals or whatever, and then I go to do the kicks, and I cannot differentiate my hand from like doing off rhythms.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough to gain that independence for sure. Dave, I know you can attest to that, being a drummer yourself. Those early days of learning how to play a kit, it's like every limb for itself, right?
It's almost like your brain is fighting your body. You're like, I know what I want to do, and it's like, nope. And when you get that click over, it's like riding a bike. It is, and I'm not saying like I'm just talking basic of being able to control those two sides of your body doing two different things. you know,
Right.
without having to think about literally every single move. Yeah, like
It's also kind of like trying to make your hands do a circle, right? Like one finger like in a circle, and then having your hand do the other opposite
yeah.
rotation. It's very difficult. Like it's frustratingly difficult to do something like that. So that's the way I interpret it in my head. Is like I think a lot of it at the time is for a lot of people. I feel like it's not thinking about it. Sometimes it's just like an innate thing that they do, and if you don't put any thought into it, it's easier. But like the second you start thinking about timing, at least for myself, the second I'm starting to think about timing, everything else just goes.
Yeah, you definitely have to get in that place where you can kind of feel when you're in the pocket and out of the pocket, and that is a difficult place to get to. And I think for when you see a drummer who is super in the pocket, the feeling is next level. Like when that bass and the drummer are jiving together so well, it's especially live. It is quite the feeling to experience.
Yeah, man, that's a fact, dude. Yeah, it's exciting, man. I think ideally down the road, I probably will get some sort of electronic drum kit and just trigger MIDI through that. I think for me, I'd be able to pump through so much more music if I could just lay a groove down really quickly, you know, what's in my head, instead of, you know, having to take the time to like sit there and write in the rolls and this and that and the third. And so I'm excited to get to that point. But, you know, for now, what I'm doing works for me, and, you know, I'm happy with it.
For sure.
Baby steps. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, 1000%.
Like one thing at a time, you know, you get there.
So,
by the way, thank you guys so much for having me on here. You know, I'm reading the chat. And see a lot of familiar names in there. You know, some of our RetroSynth family, some that I haven't really been acquainted with just yet. So that's really cool. Hello to all of you guys.
We're honored, dude.
Yeah, we're honored to have you as well. And speaking of the chat and everything, that is one of the goals of this show, is not only to provide an avenue for RetroSynth artists, but we're all artists ourselves, and RetroSynth is not like a hyper closed, you know, label. We'll promote some other people that we like as well. People on other labels, people that, you know, are friends of ours or whatever, and it's about building that community. And
we're all
you know,
peers, man. You know?
Yeah, dude, I feel this, you know, same sentiment, man. I love music. You know, I respect anyone that's, you know, doing it. Any creative, you know, doesn't even have to be music. It could be just any art form. You know, it's just the expression behind it, the time it takes. You know, we all know what it's like to be in that process of creation, and you know, so I respect that, you know, in and of itself. So
yeah, well said.
Yeah, man, very cool.
Well said.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride, man. I mean, Dave and I have only actually been in the community for a little over a year now ourselves, and like it feels like it's been way longer than that because of just like how well, I guess, we've integrated in a way.
Yeah, coming up on 2 years for me in the summer. I think you're probably coming up on 2 as well, right?
No, well, maybe, I don't know, because I started. I want to say it was like I started writing or finishing the album up last fall.
Yeah.
No, it was before that. No, it was like last spring. So it's about a year.
Okay. Cool.
Nice.
Well, speaking of that,
I'm glad you guys are here.
that good. Oh, thank you, man. You too. So let's move on to our next block of songs here, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more. Temporal Waves had a question. He wanted to make sure I was going to ask you about your equipment and everything like that.
Yeah,
so maybe we could talk about that.
that.
Yeah, we can get into all of that after. I know a little bit, but I'm definitely interested to hear the little nuances and stuff you use. So, all right. So we'll let's see. Coming back in about 10 minutes. So I'll talk to everybody after this next block.
See you guys there.
And we're back. Lots of lots of age chat going on. You're a boomer. No, you.
I ain't no boomer.
Right, Craig feeling old out there. That's funny.
I'm a millennial, damn it. I'm still young.
Right. Yeah, remember when millennials were the problem? We're at that age now where like now we can like hate on the younger generation. Right now, it's all
Gen Z.
Now it's all Gen Z's fault, right? Everything we screwed up, right?
The Zoomers, dude. That's what they call them.
Oh man, that's funny. So, are you here, Jay? Jay?
What's up?
Jay.
Oh, you're here. Okay, I didn't hear you.
Well, I'll go get him. Hold on, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was perfect. Oh my god. All right, so let's see. I don't know. We could talk about various things. Do you want to talk about equipment real quick? I'm kind of curious on that too. I knew Temporal Waves would want to know this because he's a drummer as well.
I know nothing about this, but this is all YouTube.
So Tom, if you want to go use the bathroom or something, we'll geek out real quick about this stuff.
I'm gonna go spin in circles and twiddle my thumb.
Yeah, if you go rock in the corner.
Don't mute the mic while you do that. I want to hear it.
I won't. I'm gonna go hop in my car real quick and do donuts in my driveway.
Right, we're just talking in the background.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh man. So yeah, I guess we can get into the gear question. For me, it's obviously going to be about my kit. It's the easiest to talk about. So, for example, like in Time Cop gig, I'm using DW Collector's drum shells, maple mahogany. I use a 12, 16, and 22 configuration with a 14 by 6.5 deep snare drum.
I like that.
I only use 2 crash cymbals. Generally like a 17 and a 19 or 18 and a 20. It really depends. I'm running backing tracks and triggers out through a Roland SPD-SX Pro.
Okay, I was wondering about that because I've seen some of your setups, right? In photos and stuff you post on Instagram. Yeah. And outside of the analog stuff, I was curious how you were doing various other things. So go on. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, so I pretty much I use Roland RT30 triggers. So I have one on my kick drum and I have one on my snare drum. I have a Roland BT1 bar trigger, generally off to my right hand side. And I have 3 Roland PD8s, kind of just off to the right of my 12-inch rack tom.
And for anyone who doesn't know, can you explain what that is?
Yeah, so the Roland PD8 pad is kind of like it's just a circular drum pad. It's kind of flat. In my configuration, I'm using it as a tom, but you could put it anywhere on your kit and use it for literally whatever you want to put on there as far as samples.
Like trigger any sound you want it to play when you hit it.
So trigger, you're pretty much just taking a sample and assigning it to a pad via whatever software or brain that you're using. So like I said, in my case, I'm using the Roland SPD-SX Pro to kind of get all that going. So all of my samples and tracks are loaded on there, and then I can assign them to whichever trigger input I want, and whatever pad that might happen to be, whether it's a trigger that screws onto the actual drum, or if it's like just like a pad.
Right.
And that's pretty much it. I use those PD8s. That's kind of like my old, Simmons tom samples.
Right. Yeah. Hell yeah. I love the sound of those.
Yeah. So it's kind of like a mix between acoustic kit and electronic kit. All the samples are blended live. Like my kick drum is blended with the kick trigger sample live. Same with my snare drum.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because
standalone.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you. You said your toms are just standalones?
Yeah, the acoustic drum toms. Yeah, I don't do anything to those. So yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering if you were blending those because obviously I've never heard a like soundboard recording of you with Time Cop live, right? So when you listen to someone's recording on Instagram or something like that, it's hard to really judge what's happening. you know, because you're hearing it from the audience's perspective. But
Sure. Yeah, I could definitely send you one. I got a few.
Oh, I'd love to hear that. Yep.
Board from the last tour. But yeah, that's the goal. We always try to blend the acoustic kick and snare with the samples, just to, you know, kind of thicken it up a little bit to where it's like you hear the sample, but you're also hearing like the strike of the actual drum as well.
Right. And I think it's really cool to hear more cymbals in this music.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
definitely.
Because I mean, I know live that adds an extra, you know, amount of energy too, but a lot of synthwave stuff isn't cymbal heavy. You know, I've tried to put crash cymbals and stuff in my stuff to accent parts, and that, you know, like, you know, if you're doing a build up, you end with a crash and a hit and all that kind of stuff. But I've noticed that it is very acceptable to have almost no cymbals sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of the
totally
music.
Right, man, about that. I will say though, like, yes, I'm very like thankful to Jordy, because you know, I definitely, you know, stick to the records, but he does give me the liberty to kind of make it my own and add probably a little bit more crash cymbals or whatever that might not be on the record to just kind of amplify it live. You know, Josh Daly does a lot more guitar stuff over records live that you know, kind of just gives it an extra layer, if you will.
And that's good for live.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you want that in a live show too, right? Because I don't think anyone wants to go up and just see him playing, or maybe they do. I mean, I would, but you know what I mean? It's always fun to add extra stuff where it'd be the difference between like watching somebody play versus if they were up and just playing like an MP3 of their song and like pretending to play keyboard, you know, when it sounds exactly the same. It's more exciting to have additional things added in, or extra little parts, or a singer live, you know, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, 1000%, man. And that's kind of the goal with that band. You know, I know the goal is to continue to build that live show and hopefully have, you know, a full band someday. We'll see. But
more people, you know, packed in the van, right? Sorry,
I
interrupted you. Go ahead.
Oh, you're good. No, that was it. I just saying, like, you know, with the Just Us Three, like, we try to, you know, just make do with what we do, and, you know, just having guitar, drums, and synths. So, you know, we'll see what happens in the future. You know, the goal is to definitely continue to build that aspect of it, but, you know, we'll see.
Awesome. And he's still on, and I don't want to make this all about Time Cop or anything, but he's still on that tour every other year thing, right?
Kind of, yeah, especially now with he just had a beautiful baby girl named May, probably like 7 months ago. So, you know, that's kind of his like super focus right now, understandably so. But
of course,
yeah, every other year, you know, we'll see how it goes. But you know, that's kind of where that stands right now.
Last question about related to this. Anything hilarious from the tour that's worth telling?
Oh man, just
any funny, embarrassing story you'll regret telling later after the show or something?
No. Honestly, yeah, there's nothing super crazy. I mean, I will say, not to like name drop or anything, it's just a reality of what happens out on tour. You know, so the last day, were me, Jordy, Josh, and I'm sure you guys all know Mr. Ollie Ride.
Mm-hmm.
We're walking to a taco truck to get some food. And, you know, dude, it's parked on the side of the road in LA. You know, it's just very unassuming spot. You know, you're just there, you walk up. So randomly, this lady walks by and she goes up to Josh and Ollie while they're like mouth open, mid-bite, about to bite into their food, and like, "Hey, are you Ollie Ride?" Like, just the thought of that, you know, you just like mid-bite and, you know,
right.
I don't know, that made me laugh a lot, but just, I don't know, the inside jokes that you develop over the course of the tour,
right.
Just like stupid stuff. I don't know, it's just all funny. It's kind of those things where you just kind of had to be there.
I mean,
and, you know,
as one does when they casually hang out with Droid Bishop. And,
right.
Yeah, dude, James I love that dude so much. Like, he's like, we're like the same but different. Like, him and I, like, we just got along really well, and he's an amazing human being. Even aside from music, So yeah, it was really a lot of fun to tour with him and travel with him, and just be co-piloting with him, and just jamming out to some MJ or whatever the hell we were listening to at the time.
Right.
A lot of classic rock for sure. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. Just those late night baconators.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man.
Or whatever it is, just the random stuff you see on the road. But yeah, so that was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, the baconator's rough. So good going down, then you feel real bad after for like a while.
Yeah, so good in the moment.
Yeah, like 20 minutes later, you're just like, oh, I hate my life.
Yeah, specifically
like,
that sandwich.
So good, but
specifically that one.
Yeah, dude.
I don't want to make this again all about the baconator now, but if anybody can eat that in a clean way, I would be blown away. Because when you're at the end of that, you're just covered in stuff.
Hold my beer.
Well, you got this?
I don't think that exists, man.
You gonna palm this one bite, Dom?
I don't think you understand the size of this mouth.
Right.
The gaping maw that is my, trap.
Right. Oh, Nick in the chat just said, "Pick up, Dave." Yeah, the phone started ringing during this talk.
I call him nonstop the whole show.
Yeah, no, I put it on Do Not Disturb, so now I'll be getting a lot of angry messages. But we'll see. So Jay's first drop with DRUMxWAVE is going to be this Friday. And
Yes.
we'll be playing it on the Friday RetroSynth show. So when we were talking about what we normally ask people to bring 3 songs or for whatever that they like, and then some songs that have influenced them. So we did it kind of backwards today. We worked out that Jay has brought 4 songs that he likes and is I don't know. Would you say influenced your sound, right, for DRUMxWAVE, or is it just more of just stuff you admire?
Not necessarily influenced. I think I touched base with this like yesterday when I was speaking with you guys. DRUMxWAVE is kind of odd, man. I don't really have a lot of influences when it comes to this project. At least none that I'm like fully aware of. I mean, I'm sure it's just kind of like a culmination of stuff that I've absorbed over the years, and it's just kind of translating in whichever way it happens to translate when I'm creating.
Right.
But these 4 songs, they're just friends of mine, man. I want to celebrate other people that are doing well, and music that I'm genuinely a fan of, and just kind of spread some of that love around. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to that. I wish I had music to share with you guys, but Friday I will.
Yeah, well, we'll just have to have you back on then. This was the whole plan, right? This is the tee up, right? And then we can have you back on when your full album is out or whatever. But so we did the influence, or the songs the person likes thing. But then instead of 3 of your songs, you picked out 3 RetroSynth songs, some recent songs that you like. So this is how we're kind of switching it up for this show. So unless you have something else you want to add, we can move on to those. It's 4 tracks that you picked out. Is there anything else we want to say? All right. Yeah. All right, then we'll talk to everybody after this next block. And Dom, how's the spinning going?
Oh, fun, by the way. I'm only a little dizzy.
Okay, good.
I started spinning the opposite way, and that made it a lot better.
Excellent. Nancy, you always find a way.
Yep.
All right, guys.
Make fun wherever I am.
That's right. All right, we'll talk to you in a little bit.
Every night it pulls me in again. I'm right there at the mess back then. Kill the lights and chase the quiet. The shadows start a rewrite. Dreaming tearing down the years to feed it all without the fears. But the fire in me still burns in the blood, your blood. Before the lights went out, before we drowned in doubt, there were flickers of a life we had. Hell, it weren't even all that bad. Now I'm holding on to what we knew before the lights went out on me and you. On me and you. my memory every day. Kills me that I made you cry, and I still don't know the reasons why. I give it all up for just one chance to play out a new circumstance, but I guess we'll never know. So come on, let's just let it go. Before the lights went out, before we drowned it down, there were flickers of a life we had, and it wasn't even all that bad. Now I'm holding on to what we knew before the lights went out on me and you. On me and you. Chasing a fever like a non-believer. stars that are having the wind. We're chasing down the sun as the moon rises in.
My hands slide down as you shift into gear.
If love were a battlefield, I'd surrender here. You got me chasing a fever like a non-believer. So come on, baby, let me take you higher. Jumping up and down the floor. My head is an animal, and once there was an animal. It had a son that mowed the lawn. The son was an okay guy. They had a pet dragonfly. The dragonfly ran away, but it came back with a story to say. Her dirty paws and furry coat. She ran down the forest slope, the forest of talking trees. They used to sing about the birds and the bees. The bees had declared a war. The sky wasn't big enough for them all. The birds got help from below, from dirty paws and the creatures of snow. While things were cool, they were scared down in their holes. The forest that once was green was colored black by those killing machines. When she and her furry friends took down the queen bee and her men. And that's how the story goes. The story of the beast with those four dirty paws.
I had to put the Droid Bishop song last. It just seemed like the perfect ending of that block.
Man, I got zoned out. Of that.
I knew you would take a minute to hop back in after I started talking, because I know how you
It's just
work.
something about like that classical like rock feel, like it's like
Yeah.
that real smooth, like I don't know, like late 70s, early 80s, I guess.
Yeah, with the super clean synths in there and everything.
So good.
Yeah, great
And
picks,
the melody,
man.
the vocal melodies are solid.
Yeah, when you started trickling these into our kind of backstage chat thing, I was like, yes, good, awesome. You're like, hey, what about this one? I'm like, very okay.
Yeah, man. I love all those artists in their own right. You know, like I said, touring with James was a blast, and being able to hear him do his thing every night was amazing. And that song, you know, was one of my favorites. So
Yeah, it's a great
it's
track.
really, really cool.
And
Yeah, it was cool to see some arena love in there.
right? Yeah, I was just going to ask you about that, because you have Arena, right? You were saying?
Yeah, so just a little bit of backstory. So Arena is my buddy Joey Arena. That's his actual last name.
Oh, I love that. Don't you love that? Like if
He's
you,
from Rochester. Yeah, he's
That's
from
amazing.
Rochester, New York. So he's a hometown homie, and you know, I've known him for quite some time now. Kind of came up in the music scene together, and he has another band called Outlier. That's more of a metal band that has been doing really, really well. But he also makes music under Arena. So yeah, it's very cool to see him get some love in the chat, and I obviously had to throw him in here and kind of get him acquainted for the folks that don't know him.
yeah,
Yeah, so,
very good,
so that's
very
really
good track
cool.
to do that with too. I mean,
Yeah,
like very
that's
catchy
amazing.
track.
I love that one from him. So I know he's been working on more music, so hopefully we'll hear more from him, you know, as time rolls on.
Excellent. So this was reminding. I was listening to these, and you know, they all, like a lot of these songs, they all have some connection to them. You know, you can see why they're all kind of in the same genre. But and this is a question, I guess, for everybody. Like, what is the sound or subgenre or whatever of synthwave you find yourself most attracted to, or like you instantly hear, and even if it's not that great of a song, you like it more because it just is kind of that vibe that you're looking for?
Oh man, that's tough. I honestly, I'm a sucker for really dark stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I love the dark synths. Yeah, so I don't know, the darker the better. Like, I don't know, I love Outrunner stuff because it's beautiful, melodic yet dark.
Yeah.
It's the reason why I love a lot of the Time Cop stuff. You know, guys outside of the label like Essinger, you know, Gunship. You know, so there's a lot of cool stuff, man. But honestly, I love it all, man. I'm a sucker for some melody, so you know, you can get me from both directions. But you know, when it comes to creating, like, I find myself more on that end of the spectrum when it comes to the darker, you know, little grittier stuff.
Yeah, and yeah, I hear that in your stuff, the stuff that you've shown me, anyways. It does kind of have that, you know, not a lot of major keys happening, you know.
Yeah.
What about you,
Which is
Dom?
fine, you know, it's expressive of how I felt in the moment.
Sure.
Writing, you know. So.
Yeah, man, I hardly ever use anything except minor stuff, so I think it's got a cool sound.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I mean, I'm drawn towards. I don't know. It varies, dude. I got to be honest, like, because there's sometimes. I mean, I don't know. I'm all over the place when I'm writing stuff half the time. like I do really enjoy making chill synth. I really enjoy making, I guess, like outrun-ish tracks.
Yeah.
And
Because you're a bit, you have like a cohesive sound, I think, where, you know, the bits and pieces between your projects, you know, you see how they overlap a little bit. And it to me, anyways, a lot of it has that chill wave sound to it, you know, like
I've always been
in
drawn
that
to it.
family.
I don't know why. Yeah, I'm just something about the extra resonance, you know, on a you know, a nice short plucky thing, and like I don't know, it's fun.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I originally was drawn, like a lot of people, to like the sounds of that FM84's, you know, Atlas album, which is a classic.
Right.
And the Droid Bishop sound and so Time Cop sound. Some people will call that stuff more classic synthwave or dreamwave, or there's a billion other names people will identify that stuff as. So like, for example, like on our label right now we have a newer act called Arcade Beach, right? They have a sound that I really like, but I like everything. I'm not just saying I'm only attracted to that, but there's something about that kind of dreamy sounding lush pads, that thing that really attracts me. But then I'm also more
tickle the brain different for different
people,
I mean,
I've been getting more into that kind of more dancier Italo disco sound, and this has to be Nick Rickson's fault, but like Perfect Female Type makes a lot of music I really like now, that kind of stuff, and that so stuff with that higher energy is something that I'm getting more and more into now.
Yeah, dude. No, I feel that, man, and I will say this, like, when it comes to creating, like, that's kind of where my mind is at, but I'm free game when it comes to just listening to music as a fan.
Yeah.
So, yeah, dude, my spectrum is all over the place, so I feel you on that. There's a lot of different stuff that I love listening to. It's just all over the spectrum. Dude.
For sure. Yeah, and I like a lot of dark wave stuff as well, like Dance with the Dead, even. I don't know if you call that dark wave, I guess, broadly, right? But it is definitely, this genre incorporates so many awesome kind of little subgenres, too, that you get all this exposure. Like, if you just search synthwave, you can get everything under the sun, from, like, just the happiest, most gentle stuff to like some real hardcore, like almost
there's a lot
metal,
out there. Yeah. Well, there's so much room to breathe within the genre, really. I mean, because it's really just based on like the whole synthwave thing for a lot of people, and I know this is going to get like debated to the ground here, but I'm just saying, like, for the most part, if you're using like older synths in whatever you're doing, it's gonna. You're gonna kind of be drawn to that scene, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think I forget who said it, but it's kind of like if it's good music, it's good music to you, right? So you could, there could be an aspect in like a metal song, like if you're not a metal fan, let's say, but they have like a very melodic part that draws you in, or clean singing or whatever, that could make you appreciate that song. I mean, you don't have to be a fan of any genre to like a track in it.
1000%, man. Yep.
So I'm looking at these next these three RetroSynth songs that you picked, and they are kind of all within that same kind of feeling we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just looking at one thing here. Sorry, Dom. Go ahead, fill in the gap while I look at this.
Really like. I mean, I just like. For me, it's always been getting into the process of doing, like, just making something. Sometimes you get into this flow where what you're doing is, I don't know, it's all encompassing. Like, it basically just takes over everything for you once you've hit that, like, good groove.
Oh, yeah.
I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it just, like, it's just I don't know, it's just something about it. It's just, it's hard to describe to people who don't make music, I guess. But, it's just,
Yeah, that feeling when you've made something you like. And like for me, what I do is I'll make something, and if I think it's really good, I'll be listening to it on headphones, kind of over and over, kind of thinking about other parts and that kind of thing. And that is such a fun feeling to do that and kind of get into like, hey, I really got something here. I'm really excited about producing this. And I'm sure every artist has this feeling. This is nothing unique to us.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's one of those things where it's like it's when you've hit like a good groove. It's I don't know. It's nothing quite like it, buddy. Like it's the worst is when you hit a good groove and you're at my age now with kids, and then you have like other responsibilities, and then you're just
1,000 interruptions.
No. Yeah, right. And you're like, I don't even have it anymore. No.
Chase over there laughing, right? Suckers.
Sucker.
Oh man. All right. We can move on to the block of Jay's RetroSynth picks, unless anyone else has anything else they want to add. Hey, how's your voice holding up, Jay? We're talking earlier in the chat how the weather slightly shifts and everyone is ill all of a sudden. So
Right.
Yeah, man. It's holding up. It's a little hoarse, but we're doing it.
You sound good to me, so don't worry about it. I was making sure you're doing okay.
I'm doing well, thank you.
All right. Let's move on to this next block, and we'll be back after.
All right.
Here in the night, I'm all alone. I'm searching for my start. Tonight I'm gonna fall apart. It's like there were parts on
pain. Yeah, show me you're not afraid. I'll kiss you in the rain. I'll kiss you in the. You know you want it. You know I want it, girl. Come take my pain. You know you want it. You know you want it, girl. Come take my. Come take my. Come take my. Come take my. Girl, come, let me kiss you in the rain.
Following you on a dark night. After I ran into your silhouette, wanted to bring you to the gallows. So I came and asked you for a dance. I said, boy, you're my next victim. I wanna kiss you in the rain. He said, girl, you sure you want this so much? I said, I'm here to take your pain. I wanna kiss you in the rain. I wanna kiss you in the rain.
Kiss you in the rain. Oh, so you can take my pain. Yeah, show me you're not afraid. I'll kiss you in the rain. I'll kiss you in the. You know you want it. You know I want it, girl. Come take my pain. You know you want it. You know you want it, girl. Come take my. Come take my. Come take my. Come take my. Girl, come, let me kiss you in the rain.
Once again, excellent picks. I think everybody in the chat agreed with that. And man, you know, I say this every time there's an Outrunner song on. That guy is so good. Every time I hear an Outrunner song, I'm like, damn. Oh my god. Hey, Jay, you might know this. In the chat, 13 Nights was talking about, you know, festivals and that kind of stuff. And him and I had talked, you know, before the show about where kind of hot spots in the US are for synthwave music. And so I was saying, obviously, you know, there's standard stuff like LA and New York, right? Chicago doesn't seem to have that big of like a synthwave scene from, I mean, I know it's everywhere, but like not a big scene. I think Dan Eaches was saying something about Denver, Colorado, maybe, or do you know any other places?
Yeah, I feel like Denver's great. Always get a good turnout in Denver. I feel like Washington D.C. wasn't too bad.
Okay.
As far as passionate, you know, fans are concerned.
I feel like Detroit would be good.
Yeah, but is there
I
like
feel
a scene
last
there
time we
for
did Detroit,
synthwave?
it wasn't too bad. I mean, it was a smaller place out there, but you know, it's not always about the size of the venue, man. It's the people who come, man, like how passionate they are about the music. I mean, that's what makes
Right on.
up the scene. To me, you know, it could be 100 people who are super passionate, and that would do it for me. You know, even the bigger shows are fun too, but yeah, man, it's more for the passion for me. And yeah,
If you get a small,
markets, you know,
if you get a small venue with tons of people that are really into it, that's a lot more fun than like a huge venue, you know, where you're not as in an intimate environment, I guess you could say. But
yeah,
I was just, you know, I've always watched, you know, I'll come back later from now and I'll realize I've missed a lot of stuff. But, you know, Chicago is definitely, I mean, if you're going to play 3 areas of the country, right, you're going to hit New York, Chicago, and LA. But I I haven't seen this booming synthwave scene in Chicago, and there are other artists here that I know of. So I've always been kind of just surprised about that. How was the turnout at the Time Cop show in Chicago? Was it as big as you thought it would be?
In Chicago. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I forgot the name of the venue we played out there. Urban? No, not Urban Lounge. Where was Urban Lounge? Yeah, it wasn't too bad, man, honestly. I will say, Dallas has a sneaky little synthwave scene down there too, man. They seem to really like it. So
yeah, okay, that's good to know too.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but Dom, I know. What do you always say about Detroit, that it's kind of like known for the home of electronic music or something like that, right? What's the claim there?
I mean, people say that techno was born here, like there was a lot of like techno here, early 2000s, late 90s.
Okay.
It was Tech Fest is here. They do that every year, and now it's huge. But I don't know. Like I've just always felt like most music is welcome here in Detroit. Like I don't think I've ever. It's so eclectic. There's just so much going on in Detroit. Like there's always like, you name it, there's shows all over the place.
Right.
And I'm sure it's like that everywhere. I don't know. Maybe
there's
I'm just
some
biased
club.
'cause I live here.
There's some club out by you that has like a real retro theming to it. That I think.
Yeah, the City Club.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, City Club, dude. City Club is like, it's like a mixture of things. It's like industrial and punk and like cyberpunk and like it's like a whole bunch of.
Okay. Yeah. See.
Temporal ways of saying no. It comes from Bombay. I don't know. Point is though is that I know that it was extremely popular. There was a whole like if you go like I don't know if you noticed this, but when you're looking through like presets sometimes in VSTs, you always see like Detroit and stuff like that.
Sure.
Like it'll have like a Detroit like whatever and. So, I mean, if you're paying attention,
you got to be careful.
Like,
you got to be careful when Temp's in the chat, man, because if we say that man is a wealth of knowledge, right? So if you're like,
I mean, everybody's got Google, right, Temp? I mean, I get it.
No. I know he's just sitting there waiting for you to finish, and he's like, actually, it's not. It's here, and not only that, but he knows the history of all this stuff too. He's a fascinating guy for sure.
That's awesome.
Actively fact checking.
Right. No, I love it. I love that aspect of him. He's a really, I feel like I've said this many times on the show, but I'm really glad that we met him, early on and everything.
Oh yeah, for sure.
What a cool guy. Oh my God. Let's see. So as always, we're kind of coming up against, we got about 20 minutes left and about, way more music to play than that. I don't know. Anything else you guys want to touch on before we hit this next block?
No, I'm good, man. Honestly,
let's keep the tunes flowing, man.
Yeah. All right.
I'm vibing over here.
Well, we got one of my favorite songs that's come out recently by one of the newer RetroSynth people someone who was just added. And so in a moment we'll all find out who. All right. I'll talk to you guys after this.
Later.
fully complacent society under our control. The corporation cannot and will not be denied. corporation cannot and will not be denied.
And we're back, and we are coming up at that time of the hour, unfortunately, where we are getting near the end. It flies right by every time. Yeah, it's been 2 hours.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. A little bit.
Yeah. So
it just flies right by every time.
Every time. Jay, I want to thank you for coming on, man. It was a real pleasure. I've been really looking forward to talking with you. I know we've been talking, off, not in person, about drums or whatever, and so I was really looking forward to getting a little, know you a little bit more, talking about gear and all sorts of stuff. So really appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. Thank you to all the RetroSynth Records family, in the chat. And yeah, dude, I'm really excited for Friday.
Yeah.
To just start releasing music and, you know, just release more music in the future and get the ball rolling, dude. And super, super stoked.
And it appears, or unless something has changed, that I will be replacing Dan on the show on Friday. So I am lucky enough to premiere your track, which I'm very excited about. And I don't know Dom, I don't know what you're doing on Friday or
I'm
not.
going to crash it.
No, you're more than welcome.
Before.
You're more than welcome
I'm
on.
crashing it before, and then I'm going to come back after I get the kids, and then I'm going to hop back in.
You can do that if you want to. It's a totally different vibe, I guess, or maybe not. I'm going to try to talk like Dan, and that Dan has like that perfect radio voice. So it'll be like Casual Fridays with Dave. How are you? Or something like that.
Sure, but you have a very good radio.
Oh, I know. People have said that.
Really great voice, Dave. I will say that.
A face for radio.
Thanks, man.
One might think, you know?
Hey, man, I'm just saying that, like, you know, Dan, the way Dan speaks and everything is something I really pay attention to because I really like how he sounds. But I appreciate those compliments as well. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, next is going to be the insults.
No, you're supposed to be like, and my voice?
Oh, no. I already know I sound like crap.
No,
It's
man,
fine.
I love how you sound on the show, and I'm not just saying that. I love
hate
it.
the way I sound, though. I mean, I think everybody does, though. Like, every time I go back to listening to anything that I'm on, I'm like, I cringe.
No, you shouldn't. You absolutely shouldn't. But
I appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah, no problem. So Fire in the Sky is coming out this. That's right. That's the name of it, right? Or did I get it wrong?
Flames in the Sky.
Flames in the
Same
Sky.
thing. Same
Love
thing.
it, dude.
Yeah, some sort of thing happening in the sky coming out this
Explosions?
Friday. No, you know what
Yes,
it is?
this song's about aliens.
Right. I was just going to say that's what I was thinking of as the movie, you know, so... Anyways, well...
Yeah, I mean, that's not even a joke, kind of is, but I love sci-fi. I love, you know, anything to do with the paranormal and UFOs.
Oh, yeah, me too.
All that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'm kind of a nerd,
Yeah,
dude.
I'm
but-
really into science fiction myself as well.
So that, yeah, Flames in the Sky is kind of loosely based on, you know, our relationship with those who we have not met yet.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, this could be hour 3 of the show if we keep going on this topic, right?
Yeah, right.
We'll get Dan on the show, and he'll be like, "All right, everyone."
Start going into my spiel about how rare, you know, what sentient life must be.
Right? No, we're not starting this debate.
Let's do this.
It all started. I was driving down Route 66 in
Right.
my old Chevy.
Right. Oh my God.
No, this has been a lot of fun. I want to thank you guys again for letting me come hang out with you guys on the show, and you know, hopefully we'll do it again. I'll definitely, obviously, be tuning in on Friday.
Cool. I love that.
Hear the track and chat with some peeps, and hopefully they dig it. Hopefully my snare's okay.
Yeah, we'll have to
you
have
know.
Sam read a review of it. I think he'll be happy with
I
it.
want to review just the snare alone, but
Right. He'll do
That's
it.
so fun.
He'll do it, man. Sam knows knows a lot about music, and if you were like, I really want to know, he would give you a detailed opinion for sure.
Yeah, don't tempt him.
Don't tempt him.
that's amazing, man. Thank you guys again so much, man.
All right, and thanks to everybody in the
Pleasure,
chat. It was quite a wild
Yeah.
chat today. Tons of people.
Oh yeah, and then
Absolutely.
as always, just, you know, to remember to be kind to people. You know, take a little
Of
moment
course.
out of your day. It only
Yep.
takes a second. And Dave, I love you. Jay, I love you.
I love you guys,
everybody
too.
out there.
Love y'all.
And I hope everybody has a wonderful week.
Of
All right.
course, you too, man. Also, before we end this, I obviously do got to give a big shout out to our main man, Dan Ichis.
Yes.
I want to just say thank you for bringing me into the RetroSynth family and giving my music a shot to be heard. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and he kind of steers the ship in that way we were talking earlier of RetroSynth kind of being a place where people can have a seat at the table and it's not this kind of closed vacuum environment where it's I mean, a show like this to exist on other labels where they are okay featuring some other labels music or whatever, that I don't know if anyone else does that. Right. So much love to Dan as always.
For sure.
Yes, sir. Much love, buddy.
All right, so we got as always, to end the show, we got 3 tracks coming off, and then we'll be done. And so we will see everybody next week. Hope everybody has a great rest of their week. Catch you next time.
Later.
Later.
captain has turned off the no smoking sign. You are free to move around the cabin.
care. Cashier's laughing, joining in. At the bus stop, she's busting a move. People stop and stare as she finds her groove. When the bus arrives, she's doing the twist. Change my mood. What is that? What is that? What is that? Huh? What is that? 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 Huh? Just give me the same. What is that? What is that? What is that? Huh? What is that? 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 Huh? Just give me the same. Watch her shake. Watch her shake, watch her shake. Watch her twist, watch her twist, watch her twist. Watch her dance, watch her dance, watch her dance. Watch her change my mood. Don't know.